Audiobook Academy. Book Summary. Jack and the Beanstalk. By Stephen Kellogg. Joseph Jacob compiled the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. An ogre's house is broken into by a young kid, who steals the ogre's gold purse, a golden hen, and a golden harp. As a widowed mother and father, an elderly woman named Milky White lived with her sole son, Jack. Because they were impoverished, they had to rely on the daily supply of milk the cow provided, which they sold at the local market. They were concerned and unsure what to do when the cow Milky White failed to provide milk one morning. The widow wailed, "What shall we do? What shall we do?" When Jack's mother was down, he soothed her, advised her to brighten up, and promised to look for a job. She informed him it was futile because they had already tried it and he had not been hired. In order to establish a business, they'd have to sell their Milky White. Jack was on board. Because it being a market day, Jack opted for the Milky White and set off. Jack was walking to the market when he came across an elderly man who greeted him. When he got to the other side of the street, "Good morning, Jack," a strange-looking old man greeted him. This strange-looking old man had Jack's name memorized, but he couldn't figure out how. Jack told the old man that he was heading to the market to sell the family's sole cow. Inquiring as to whether or not he knew how many beans make 5, the old man remarked, "You look just like youngsters who sell cows." Despite the oddity of the topic, Jack responded as follows. According to Jack, 2 in each hand and 1 in your mouth is the only way to go. To prove his point, the old man pulled out a bag of beans from his waistband and offered them in exchange for Jack's cow. Even though Jack dismissed the idea and instructed him to leave, the old man placed a doubt in his mind by telling him that these were magic beans and that if Jack planted them overnight, the beans would grow all the way to the sky. Jack thought the man was playing a joke on him and sent him away. Jack was now on board with the deal and readily agreed to the exchange. He gave the elderly man his cow's halter and some beans. His home was nearly dark when he returned. When he didn't see the cow, his mother inquired as to how much money he earned from it. Jack boasted to his mother that she'll never guess what he does for a living. Jack assures his mother, "You'll never guess. I'm not sure you're saying that. You're doing a great job, young man. 5 pounds? That's a lot of money. 10? 15? The answer is a resounding no. Upon showing her the beans, he exclaims that they are amazing. He was put to bed hungry by a furious mother who called him names and swore at him. It is with a mixture of shock and disbelief that Jack's mother answers, "Why would you be so stupid as to part up my Milky White and the best milker in the parish, as well as premium steak, for a handful of meager beans? That's it. That's all right, then. That's it. In the meantime, you can forget about your prize beans because they've been thrown out the window. And with that, I bid you good night and good luck with the rest of your day. This night, you are not allowed to consume even a sip or a nibble of anything." In that case, Jack retreated to his itty-bitty attic room. For his mother's sake, and for the loss of his dinner, he was deeply regretful and sad. He was soon fast asleep. When Jack awoke in the morning, his room appeared weird and amusing. Only a small portion of the room was illuminated by the sun. In order to determine what is blocking the sun's rays, Jack got out of bed, got dressed, and walked to the bedroom window. Quickly becoming aware that his mother's last bean night's throw had sprouted into a tall beanstalk. It rose to the heavens just as the old man had predicted. Jack climbed the beanstalk to the top of the sky when the beanstalk got close to his window, so he opened it and leapt right on top of it. Ahead of him stood an enormously tall woman who waved as he approached the front door of the large, tall house. If she would please give him some food, he gently referred to her as Mom, as was customary at the time. He explained that he hadn't eaten since dinner earlier that night. Jack greets his mother with a courteous "Good morning, Mom. Would you mind making me something to eat?" As you know, he hadn't eaten anything the night before, and was as famished as an animal in the wild. She promised him a meal of small boys grilled on toast if he didn't run because her husband is an ogre and likes to devour them. However, Jack begged her to feed him. "It's breakfast, isn't it?" asks the enormously tall lady. "If you don't get out of here, you'll be breakfast. Boys broiled on toast is all that my man craves, and he'll do anything to get his hands on it. The sooner you leave, the sooner he'll arrive." "Oh. Mom, please give me something to eat. The last time I had a meal was yesterday morning, and I've been hungry ever since," Jack tells his mother. "I'd rather die of hunger than starve to death." The ogre's wife fed Jack a jug of milk, bread, and cheese in the kitchen because she was kind. Even before Jack had finished his meal, he heard the approaching stumps of an ogre. When the ogre's wife became alarmed, She wrapped Jack in a blanket and instructed him to seek refuge in the oven. Oh my goodness. What a shock. Ogre's wife identified her husband as Old Man. What am I supposed to do now? Jump right in, says the narrator. So, as the ogre approached, she threw Jack into the oven with her. Ogres are known for their size. At the dinner table, he unhooked his 3-calf belt and requested that his wife serve him breakfast, which she did. Soon after, he picked up the scent of a small child. Fee-fi-fo-fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive, or be he dead. I'll have his bones to grind my bread. There are no humans in the house, according to his wife, or perhaps he smells the little kid who was last night's food. Until she's finished preparing breakfast, she urged him to go wash himself. Because of this, the ogre went to clean himself up, and when Jack was going to leap out of the oven and run away, the ogre's wife ordered him to wait until the ogre went to sleep. The ogre snored as he ate his breakfast, then snatched up a few sacks of gold and set them down on the table. On his tiptoes, Jack made his way past the monster as he emerged from the oven. To get to the beanstalk, he grabbed one bag of gold and sped off. He dropped the bag and descended the beanstalk till he reached his house. It was only then that he admitted to his mother that he was correct, this beanstalk was magical. So, Mother, did I get it right about the peas after all? You see, they're awe-inspiring. This allowed them to live on the gold for some time, but it was eventually exhausted, so Jack decided to try his luck with the ogre again. He made his way to the ogre's home one morning by scaling the beanstalk. The door was greeted by a tall, dark-haired woman. Because she remembered that this is the small child who took her husband's bag of gold, she urged him to leave. This was not Jack, he said, and he asked for some food again. Go gone, my boy, or else my hubby will eat you up for breakfast, said the big tall woman. When did you last come to this place as a youngster? What a coincidence, one of my man's sacks of gold went missing on the same day. I'm sure I could tell you something about that, Mom, but I'm starving and won't be able to talk about it until I've had something to eat. Because she was interested, she decided to give the tall man some food. Just as Jack was getting settled into his meal, he heard someone approaching, and the tall woman quickly snuck him back into the oven. To start the day, the ogre asked his wife to make him breakfast, a golden egg-laying hen. Hen laid an egg when the ogre ordered lay and she handed it to him. He soon drifted off to sleep. The ogre was still chasing the golden hen when Jack walked out of the oven and cautiously approached it. The hen, on the other hand, made a noise and awoke the ogre this time. Unfortunately for the family, Jack had already escaped the house and was on his way to the beanstalk. This is all Jack heard from the ogre, as he climbed down the beanstalk, when he asked his wife where his hen was. Lay was all it took for the golden egg to be laid every time his mother heard him say it. Because Jack was dissatisfied, he decided to return to the ogre and try his luck once more. One morning, he climbed the beanstalk and quickly arrived at the ogre's house, but this time, he didn't ask for food, but he instead hid in the bush till the ogre emerged from its hiding place for some water. As he waited, he was startled to see the ogre and his wife. Ogre's wife told him that an Englishman had stolen his bag of riches and a golden egg-laying hen from him, based on the smell of human blood. To their surprise, Jack wasn't in the oven. The monster screamed, Fee-fi-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Wife, I swear I can smell him. Do you, my sweetheart? The ogre's wife is quoted as saying. As for the golden eggs, if it's that little rogue, he's sure to have got inside the oven. Both of them dashed to the oven at once. According to Ogre's wife, it was probably the stench of the child he caught and ate for breakfast the night before. You're back with your fee-fi-fo-fum, aren't you? For your breakfast this morning, I've prepared the boy you nabbed last night. For how long have I been forgetful, and how careless you have been not to recognize the difference between life and death. So the ogre sat down for breakfast, claiming that he had smelled the human before he ate his food. He asked his wife to bring him his golden harp after he finished his breakfast. Sing, the ogre ordered as she set it down on the table in front of him. The ogre quickly drifted off to sleep as the golden harp sang sweetly to him. Despite Jack's hasty sprint to the door, his master's call was heard, and the ogre was awakened just in time to catch him. When Jack reached the top of the beanstalk, he climbed down as swiftly as possible. While standing there, the giant ogre was afraid that he couldn't descend the beanstalk, so he kept his ears peeled for the sound of his harp crying out for help. When Jack got home, he called his mother and asked her to bring him an axe. His mother swung an axe at him. It was only when Jack used an axe to break down the beanstalk that the ogre's legs could be seen through the clouds. When Jack used his axe one more time, the beanstalk was slashed in half and started to tumble. A few moments later, the beanstalk came crashing down, ogre and all. Jack presented his mother with a golden harp as a token of gratitude for the happy ending. As a result, Jack amassed a sizable fortune thanks to the golden hen and sharp. When all was said and done, he wed a lovely princess and they had a happy marriage together. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.